Okay, so we're first going to practice just writing the standard equation of a circle given a graph of a circle. You have this cutout, or you were asked to grab this cutout. If you didn't, go ahead and get it. Paste it into your notebook and we'll work this example together. It says write the equation of the circle, and when you're given a graph of a circle you want to label the center point and then you want to figure out what the radius is. And the radius you'll count from the center point to an end point on the circle, either going horizontally or vertically. So from the center to an end point on the circle, I count 1, 2, 3. And you can go to the left 1, 2, 3, or you can go up 1, 2, 3, but either way the radius of the circle is 3. And then I rewrite what the standard equation of a circle is. The equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals your radius squared. And hk is the center point. And then I'll rewrite what my center point is. My center point is 0, 4. And then I need to write what my radius is. My radius is 3. Okay, then I look back and I match. So I'll use colors to show you what I mean. So I'm just substituting in h here and then making it the opposite sign. So this would be my h value, the 0. Then I substitute in k, which is also the center value for my y. And then my radius, I'll take whatever that number is and square it. So I'm just going to rewrite the equation, but this time substituting in my values. So x will stay as x. Then I do minus my h. My h was simply 0. And then I square it. Plus y minus my k, which is 4, squared. And then I set that equal to my radius, which is 3, and then I square it. So all I did right there was substitute in my values. And then I need to clean this up a little bit. X minus 0, anything minus 0 is just whatever that number is. So x minus 0 is x. And then it has me square it plus y minus 4. I can't combine that. It is just y minus 4. And then I will square that as well. And then equals 3 squared. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. And that's actually how you leave the standard equation of a circle. X squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 9. And that would be my final answer for this circle. Now I'd like for you to try this next example, which is also a cutout that you'll glue into your notebook. And we want to start by writing what the center point is, the radius is, and then write your standard equation of your circle. So go ahead and pause the video, see if you get the same response as I do. Okay, and you should have gotten x minus 2 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 4. If you didn't, raise your hand and we'll come over and help you. Okay, the next example problem, you also have a picture with it, and the only reason that this one is different than what we just did is that this time you can't count the radius because it doesn't lie on an even coordinate. So I still write the center point. The center is 3, negative 4. But my radius, that is an unknown because I can't count. It's somewhere around 1, 2, 3, maybe 3.5, but I can't really know that for sure. So what I'm going to do to figure out what the radius is I'm going to use the distance formula. I've got to figure out what the distance is between this point and the center point on the circle. So I would use the distance formula. So I would take the square root of x minus x squared, so 0 minus 3 squared, plus y minus y squared, so negative 6 minus negative 4 squared, and see what that is in my calculator. And that's going to give me about 4.35889. Now, the cool thing about this is we're actually not going to write the radius is that number. This gives us the radius, but when we put our standard equation of our circle, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals our radius squared, and what we just found was the radius. So we're, instead of writing down that number, which is 4.358, we're going to write down what the radius squared is. So here, instead of writing radius equals, I'm going to write radius squared equals, and I'm going to come into my calculator and I'm going to square, see how I'm putting x squared? I'm going to square this number. And the cool thing is, it's always going to give me a whole number. So squaring 4.35889 gives me 19. So my radius squared is 19. So I just have to come back into the radius squared part of my formula and put 19. So I'll fill in the rest. X minus h. H is 3. So x minus 3 squared plus y minus k, and k is a negative 4 squared equals my radius squared, which we already did that. Then I'm going to clean this part up a little bit more. X minus 3 squared plus y plus 4 squared, because a negative and a negative is a positive, equals 19. So my final answer is this bottom line right here. And actually, I'm going to correct myself real quick. I just looked back at the distance formula and I had messed up when I put it in. It should have gotten 3.6. Squaring it should have given me 13. So we're just going to change this right here to 13. Okay, but the same principle applies. We're just doing the distance formula and then squaring it to get our radius squared. Okay, so the next example will go along with your last cutout with a center point of 3, -2 and a radius that you can't count using horizontal or vertical counting distance. So you actually must use the distance formula to figure out the radius squared. So go ahead and pause the video and see if you get the same answer as I do. And coincidentally, you're going to get the same radius squared of 13. And then final equations be x minus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared, and that'll equal 13. Okay, now we're going to do example problems where there's no picture, and this is the same exact process. We're writing our standard equation of a circle, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals your radius squared, and I label the points as soon as I'm given them. -4 is my center, so that's hk, and radius is 10. So I just substitute these values into the formula. X minus my h, and my h is a -4. And we're going to square it, plus y minus my k, k is a 0. And we're going to square it, and that'll equal my radius squared. I'm going to put the square root of 10 in parentheses, and I'm going to square it. And I'm going to clean all of this up here. X minus a -4 is just x plus 4, and we're going to square that. Y minus 0 is just y, and we're going to square that, and you actually don't need the parentheses there because y squared with parentheses is the same as y squared without parentheses. And that'll equal the square root of 10 squared. Now the neat trick about that, when you square a square root, you just get the base number inside the square root. So that'll be 10. Okay, so I'd like for you to try this next example on your own. Be careful, this time they give you a diameter and not the radius. Pause the video and see if you get the same answer as I do. So your final answer should have been x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared, and that'll equal 36. If that's not what you got, go ahead and raise your hand. Okay, this one you can go ahead and paste one of the graphs onto your notebook. And I'm just going to graph the points to give you a visual of what we're experiencing here. It says write the equation of a circle. So write the equation of a circle, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals my radius squared, with the center at 5, 4. And I'm just going to quickly graph 5, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. And passing through the point -3, 4. So what we end up having is this is the center point all the way over to an end point on the circle. You can kind of visualize here that this is our circle. And that gives us a counting distance of 8. So our radius is 8. If we didn't have a counting distance where I couldn't just count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then I'd have to use the distance formula. So this equation of a circle with the center being 5, 4 would be x minus 5 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals my radius squared, 8 squared. So to clean it all up, I have x minus 5 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 64. And that's my final answer. Okay, so I'd like for you to try the next example on your own. Use the graph paper, and if the radius is not countable, you're going to have to use the distance formula. And I believe you do have to use the distance formula for this one. So pause the video and see if you get the same thing as I do. Okay, and you should have gotten x squared plus y squared equals 29. If you didn't, raise your hand and I'll be happy to help you. Alright, and the last example we're going to do together is to write, if the equation is given, we want to identify the center point and the radius. So the equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared, and that equals our radius squared. What I do first is I figure out what my radius is. Well, 4 equals my radius squared. So essentially I'm setting up an equation in order to solve for just the radius. So I would take the square root of both sides to figure out what the radius is. And the radius would be the square root of 4, which is 2. And then I go and tackle my h and k, my center point. Well, x squared is by itself, so that tells me that h is 0. K should have been a negative, but it's actually a positive. The number or the value in front of the k should have been a negative, but it's actually a positive. So the only way to make this a positive 4 is if that k was originally a negative 4. So negative, negative gave us that positive. So my center point is 0, negative 4, and my radius is 2. So in this case, we're just using the formula for the equation of a circle backwards. Okay, so I'd like for you to try the last example on your own. If the equation of a circle is x plus 4 squared plus y minus 7 squared equals 25, what is the center point and the radius? Pause the video and see if you get the same answer as I do. Okay, and we should have gotten negative 4, 7 for the center point and 5 for the radius. If that's not what you got, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll come on over and help you.